hardware releases and information and news. The RTX 4080 and 4070 power consumption is dropped by up to 30%. This is great news. So apparently Ada Lovelace's total board power is looking far more reasonable now. Resident Twitter leaker Copite7 Kimmy updated the public with new power consumption expectations for the upcoming RTX 4080 and 4070. The wattage of the 4070 has gone down a bit to 285 watts from a previously projected 300 watts. The RTX 4080's power consumption target meanwhile plummeted to just 320 watts, matching the RTX 3080's official total board power. Previous rumors suggested it might have been 450 watt total board power for the 80 series of the Ada Lovelace GPUs. We don't know why the power expectations have gone down so unexpectedly, especially with the RTX 4080. However, Copite posted another tweet around the same time saying the high 40 series power consumption has become problematic, resulting in a reduction of power output to ampere levels. Presumably, clock speeds and performance have been adjusted as well. And this means that this might not actually be good news, and that is something to pay attention to. The power expectations basically are too high, right? The power is too high, too damn high, guys. And so with the 40 series, they're having to bring the power levels down. But what comes along with bringing the power levels down? Well, performance comes down. Now, we already know that on the memory side of things that the performance is going to be below that of the 30 series. So for mining memory intensive algorithms, we're assuming that we're not going to get much of an improvement, if any improvement at all, with Ada Lovelace. But we may get an improvement, of course, on the IPC side with the core specific algorithms and so on. So things like, once again, Caspa or Flux or Ravencoin and so on. But that's yet to be seen. It sounds like now at this point we won't get as much of a performance increase as was expected because they're having to bring the power levels down. And that's going to be a big deal, I think. I think that at this point, Ada Lovelace is not looking as strong as the RX 7000 series from AMD and Radeon, in my humble opinion. And we may be seeing what we saw with AMD versus Intel on the CPU side of things start to come to fruition on the GPU side of things, if I had to take a bet. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Of course, having lower power consumption requirements is going to be better. Maybe we don't have to, as miners or even gamers or people that are building PCs, upgrade to the ATX 3.0 power supply standard. However, there are those power supplies still coming to the market, as MSI has unveiled their MEG AI 1300P PCIe 5 power supply, which is the world's first true ATX 3.0 ready power supply. But MSI today announces its MEG AI 1300P PCIe 5, becoming the first manufactured in the world to offer a fully ATX 3.0 compliant power supply. Earlier this year, we revealed the first exclusive photos of the MSI MEG PSU lineup with full ATX 3.0 standard compliance. We also talked about how the next gen PSUs are being designed to sustain power excursions of up to 3 times, which would be something that consumers have to keep in mind if they are planning to upgrade to the next gen graphics cards. And you can see here, it says 3 times the GPU power excursion, 2 times the total power excursion in this slide here, which is pretty crazy. We have some more slides you can see here. Only one 16 pin. So this is a little crazy. So on a 1300 watt power supply and a 1000 watt power supply, you're still only getting one of these 16 pin power outputs for PCIe 5.0, and some of these cards presumably may come with 2, but maybe not anymore since they're reducing the power requirements on these. A single PCIe 5.0 16 pin will supply up to 600 watts of power. So it's kind of understandable that they couldn't put two, because you have a 1,000 watt power supply and you have a 1,300 watt power supply, and you need something for the rest of the components that are going to be on there in general. So you might not even see that until you get to like the 1,600 watt range, where you would have double 16 pins available. And you can see here on the 3090 Supreme that they got basically the 3x8s, and they show the old support for that. And then on the 3090 Ti, the single 16 pin there. So it's pretty much what we're looking at as far as these power supplies go. And Ada Lovelace coming down in power consumption. I'm pretty excited for, you know, the new power supplies in general, because I think they are going to be a lot more reliable. That being said, from a mining standpoint, you know, I'm not that big on it, because who wants to upgrade all their infrastructure? You know, for the most part, most miners, I think at this point, are utilizing server grade power supplies. They're utilizing, you know, the HP power supplies or Lite-On or something along those lines with breakout boards, or in some sort of server chassis like Octominer and the likes. So that's kind of what we're taking a look at. Speaking of, make sure you check out the affiliate links and all that sort of stuff for Octominer down in the description. Now, MSI is finally officially unveiling it. And the press release says MSI welcomes the MSI AI 1300P PCIe 5 power supply unit, the world's first power supply unit to be fully ready for ATX 3.0 and PCIe 5.0. With graphics cards becoming all the more important, users must know what components to buy for their system if they are looking to upgrade. To understand why the MEG AI 1300P PCIe 5 is the ultimate feature-proof power supply unit, let's begin with understanding ATX 3.0. ATX 3.0 is Intel's new specification standard for existing power supplies. In short, ATX 3.0's main purpose is to help provide more reliability and better power efficiency, and provide graphics cards up to 600 watts of power. ATX 3.0 is created in response to graphics cards' increase in performance and the ever-increasing need for power. ATX 3.0 puts heavy emphasis on power excursions to make sure high-performance graphics cards can be sustained and your system can remain stable. Now, remember, there's been a ton of stability issues even with the 3000 series of GPUs, so it's not crazy to think that upgrading to this, even with like a 3080 or a 3090 or a 3090 Ti, wouldn't be helpful if you are having some weird power excursions. Now, personally, I'm running like a 1600 watt power supply, which seems to take care of those power excursions from a 3090, but you know, if you're running anything below that, I have seen issues on below 1000 watt power supplies and the 3090. In fact, like we had some power excursions on a 3090 while playing New World that blew up our power supply and the GPU at the same time early on when it first released, and that is something to keep in mind. ATX 3.0 added a new PCIe 5.0 12 VHP power, or VHPWR, there we go, connector that features 12 plus 4 pins instead of the traditional 6 or 8. With the new PCIe 5.0 connector, the power supply and cable can supply up to 600 watts of power. So they are fully ready to go at this point. And it is kind of interesting that we do have, at the end of the day, a power supply that is cutting edge, coming from MSI of all places, and not something like Seasonic or EVGA or one of those. According to PCI SIG, graphics cards are capable of exceeding their maximum power by 3 times. This is especially the case for high-performance graphics cards such as the 3090 Ti. So don't get confused. This is already a problem with current gen GPUs. It is believed that the upcoming graphics cards need 600 watts of power and will have power excursions of up to 1800 watts. So the power excursions only last 100 milliseconds, but can already heavily disrupt the computer system. Power excursions are also known as power spikes by many people. So this is pretty much a new standard to take care of those power spikes. And they have all the information in the article linked in the description below if you want to look at the details and their testing slides, because I find them quite interesting and I think it's super relevant right now. I don't think that I want to be purchasing these to mine with though, right? Because this becomes extremely stressful if you are only getting one 16-pin out and you're going to be able to run like 14090 or 13090 on it safely from a technical perspective, it doesn't seem like it's very good for mining in general, right? Like, we'll have to see what comes out later on down the line, maybe on the server side of things. Some of that can be compensated with by having really high rated ATX, old ATX PSUs on the 3090 side, for example, right? Because you do have essentially higher efficiency, right? So if you go platinum, you have a higher efficiency than if you stick with gold. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.